looking at the brief from the preliminary task, we learned how to analyse and understand the different conventions in the brief.
We had to understand the convention of genre, so we had to use different forms of style to convey the genre of horror that we had chosen.
Also in the brief it mentioned about titles, and we had to think about where to incorporate them to make them look the most effective.
This helped us get a greater understanding of what we actually had to do for the task, seeing as that the first task we didn't really understand what we had to do clearly.
We've also learned that planning is very important, and the fact that we needed a storyboard helped us plan our opening sequence to know what clips we wanted to get.
The planning of the storyboard also helped to give a time frame of when we were going to film and have our props produced by.
This made us have a clear picture of how we're going to film and what props we needed, which will help save time whilst we're doing the production.
The props we chose to use in our clip helped strengthen the story and give an insight into what happened previously before the flashback, which is the start of our story.
We have learnt through the use of our props to not always trust the internet to find the most effective props, because they might always not be what we wanted. So because of this we decided to make our own, which made it more thoughtful and suited what we wanted better.
From the preliminary task, we didn't really use any of our props that we needed, like they were already set for us, so we decided to make some of our own and get some to help tell the story more clearly.
In the preliminary task we filmed it on our phones, which was fairly low quality, so we decided for our main task to film with a camera, which was high quality and made it more steady when putting our clips together.
We used a torch to add atmosphere in the darkness. It also helped see what was going on in the scenes.
And next time I think we would use a tripod to help the different shots and angles to be stable.
Next time we need to get additional memory storage, as when we were filming the memory card in the camera ran out, which we wasn't prepared for.
As our preliminary task was our first chance at filming, we decided to experiment with camera shots and angles, but for our main task we had a better understanding of them to help create tension that we wanted.
From our preliminary task, some of the shots that were set in the brief we used in our actual main task, such as the close-up of the hand.
We also used match on action in our final product as well as in our preliminary.
This helped to make the scenes flow more accurately.
The camera angles emphasised the thoughts and feelings of the character in the scene and helped to enhance our production.
For our preliminary task, we didn't have any soundtrack, we just had the sound that we had when we filmed. So we needed to think more carefully about the individual sounds that we needed to make it seem more effective.
In our preliminary task we didn't need the use of titles, but for the brief for our main product we needed titles, so we had to experiment with them quite a lot.
Although at the beginning of our preliminary task we had simple titles, but we felt like we needed to be more adventurous and incorporate them into our film.
The software we used was the iMovie Plus software on the school computers. It's quite a basic software and we had a limited understanding, but throughout our time filming and editing we gained grasp of how to use the software.
This gave us a greater understanding, and because of this it meant that our main task could look better and the clips could flow better, and also the sound could be more precise and detailed.
From doing our preliminary task, we found that the editing from the software, it took a long time to do, and that we need to make sure for our main task that we create more time to actually finish it.
With the software it was quite difficult to fit onto the computer systems at school, as it buffered quite a lot and we didn't really know if it was our actual piece not flowing together or just the software, so we needed to be careful on that.
From this we learned about time management, and we had to make a schedule of how long we were going to spend for each to ensure that we finished on time. Through editing our preliminary tasks we found that it was important in making our shots flow and keep the continuity to make it realistic, because if it wouldn't flow then obviously our story wouldn't make sense. Because of this we ensured that our main task flowed to ensure that our story was easy to follow and that our audience would understand what is going on.
The use of deadlines helped us with time management. If we didn't meet the deadline, we would have no time to check it afterwards, which meant that we wouldn't have it completely perfect and to our liking. We had to meet individual deadlines of editing to be able to meet the complete final deadline of our blog with the final product.
By meeting the deadlines, we tried to make, by having these deadlines and trying to meet them, we tried to be as accurate as we can to try and make our opening sequence as professional as we can.
We had to learn from our mistakes from the start of our production. For example, we were going to buy a book for a prop off of eBay, but we didn't check it properly and it turned up a lot smaller than it was supposed to.
We needed to make sure that we actually met every single one of our deadlines, because otherwise we wouldn't have time to look over it.
We've learned that organisation is the key thing in planning, so that we know exactly what we want when we went filming, which made editing easier because we knew how all the clips would flow.
We've also realised that we should have used a tripod, because some of the footage we used is a bit shaky, which could have been sorted if we used a tripod.
Also, the individual sounds, we should have really focused more on making Foley sounds, as we decided to use some of the sounds from the clips, but then some made sounds which didn't flow as well as we hoped it would.
Overall, we are happy with our main task, and we think we've made some big improvements from our preliminary task. Since our preliminary task was the first time we had ever done anything in media, we feel that we have learned a lot about camera shots and angles and also sound to convey the horror genre that we chose.
Without the preliminary task, we wouldn't have known how to use specific software and start our main task as quickly as we could, as we understood what we were doing more clearly. Thank you for listening.
Bye!